Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, and spiritual life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Well, welcome to the show, and I hope you're having a really great day. I am life and business transformational success coach Lorianne Casdia, illuminating and empowering others to find and embrace their life purpose, live their highest vision, and forge a strong foundation to, what do I always say? Soar to success. That's right. For more information, visit us at ldcstrategies.com or loriannecasdia.com. Well, today on our show, I'm very excited. It is my brother, Dean Murray. I've known you for a long, long time, and so excited about having you on the show and catching up with you. And I really, well, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. It's great being here. We haven't seen each other in a little while. Do a little catch up here, but You're right. My gosh, we've known each other for years.
Oh my gosh. I remember when you first went up to Albany, and I remember that phone call. It's like, oh my gosh, the kids are running the show. And I was like, no, you're the adult.
You're one of the kids.
You're the adult. Go do magic. And you did. And you always do. You always bring leadership. And that's really what I want to talk to you today about is leadership, the need for it. We definitely need leadership now. What to you is the definition of leadership?
Well, doing the right thing, for one thing. I mean, I honestly leading by example and doing so by doing the right thing. You know, when you hear about people in elected office, and let's face it, politician has become a bad word. And it's unfortunate, but it's become a bad word for a reason, because there are many that abuse it. With that said, though, I can honestly say that being in elected office, I served in the state assembly for 7 years. Yeah. Being in elected office, what I did find was this. There are some bad apples, and there are some messy things.
In every industry, in every business, you're going to find bad. But there's more good than bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even in politics, most of the people there really want to do the right thing. They really want to help.
Yes.
The question is, how do we get there?
Yeah.
Because what you find is about, I'd say 80 to 85%, regardless of the letter behind their name up in Albany, it is they all want the same thing. We want to be able to be kept safe and secure.
Right.
We want to be able to feed our families, keep a roof over our head, enjoy life, enjoy what New York and Long Island has to offer, feel safe and secure.
Absolutely.
Get our garbage picked up, get the roads. Well,
simple things like that. Well, anyway.
but we
simple
want
things like that, right?
But how do you get there?
Well,
and that's where we disagree.
That's where you disagree is the road that you travel.
Correct.
The methodology how to get there.
Right.
And in some cases, it's the vision of what that actually looks like. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I used to work at Town of Brookhaven. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing I noticed, and I was just having this conversation with somebody just the other day, at the town, 95 to 97% of the time, both sides of the aisle were working together.
Right.
It was that 3% of the time that they were fighting with each other because they couldn't come up with a solution that would be good for both sides, that you saw on the news. And so the media elevated the bad stuff, the fights, because that's sexier than everybody getting along and playing nice. And yet, what does mom always say to us? Play nice. Right. So the reality is, did that happen up in Albany for the most part? The numbers might be a little different, but
little different, because it was a bigger stage and so bigger impact. So it would be about, I would say again, like 85% of the time we're pretty much on the same page. But the 15% where we varied, it was severe and it would get very contentious.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more involved, because you're talking about, you might have a bill or have a situation that is trying to either be passed or stopped, depending on which side you're on. And you look at that and you say, okay, well, this has an impact to XYZ. What you've got to look at is the bigger picture.
Right.
And the impact, not just immediate impact, and whether it be to the people or to the time.
Correct.
But how's it going to impact us down the road? What is the impact going to be down the road?
I see a lot of that not happening.
Exactly.
I see not a lot of that happening. It's an instantaneous response without any thought of the ramifications or the precedents that they set. You know, it's funny. I'm a president of a networking group here on Long Island. And that's one of the things I always say to the board. I don't make those decisions. The entire board does. We're a collaborative board. And I always say to them when they're about to make a decision is, think about the precedents you're setting. Can this apply to everybody, including ourselves? Because we eventually will not be on the board and we will be a member.
Right.
And that doesn't mean we get exclusivity. We have to follow all the same rules. So it's, equal pain, equal gain. That's what I always look for. So to me, leading from the behind is what you do. You set it out there. You really try to work with other people, but you also let the strengths of the people that are surrounding you take the lead. And I really adore that about you. I really have admired you for many years on how you are a leader and what your leadership skills are. So where did that come from?
Well, first of all, thank you. That was very nice of you. But
True.
So there's the old saying, and I know you've heard it, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's a reason for that. We need to listen more. Yeah. And so while I do like to talk a lot, I did learn. I know, shocking. I learned that, and I really did this. First off, I read the bills when I was in Albany, which is somewhat rare. But actually, I wanted to understand what we were voting on. I know it's crazy, but there were times when I would go into a session and we'd go into session and we'd have bills on the calendar and they would come up, and I honestly did not know where I was on that bill. I could go either way on it. I really didn't know. So I would look forward to the debate. I wanted to listen. I wanted to hear what they had to say, because in the assembly, we had 150 members, which was great because it was so diverse.
Yeah.
And you can hear, we had one of our guys own dry cleaners, and, there was a nurse over here, and there was someone over here that was literally drove a trash truck at one time. And so, it was so diverse. So you'd listen to what they say and their expertise, and it helped me. And I felt like it helped me to gain perspective so I can make a more informed decision. So I think it's important to, and I heard something the other day that really struck a chord. Too many times right now, and maybe it's because of Twitter and all this stuff where everybody argues, but too many times right now, we listen to respond instead of listening to hear.
Yes.
And that is so true. And we need to listen to actually hear what they're saying and absorb it and get it in and then make a decision.
So the collective mind is always stronger than the singular one.
Sure.
And so what you are saying about listening and actually paying attention to what people are saying. The other thing, I know a story when you were up in Albany and you were listening to a bill and you were listening to the debate on the floor. I actually am aware that you made some phone calls to leadership in that business category, to business owners, because it would affect their business, to get what their response was, what their thought process was. So you really educated yourself. And I know when I thought it was my job as a legislative aide, and I think anybody who does anything, who makes a decision, first, we can only make our best decisions based on the information we have that day, that moment that we have that decision. So it always bothers me when people are like, well, you decided blah, blah, blah back 7,000 years ago to make that decision. Well, they made probably the best decision at that time. At least that's my little perky Polly desire to believe, right? But it's important to surround yourself with people to give you all those different opinions and views. And people come up with things and it's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Oh, that's a good point. And there's that listening. There's that hearing. There's that using both of your ears. And I know that you do that. And again, that goes back to being a good leader. You listen, you sit back. You haven't made your mind up. You're not sure which way you're going. You don't know what's best for your constituents at that moment. So you need more input. Is there ever a way when you're going through the process? And I love the fact that how our government works when it's working well, that we have that diversity. Has there ever been a time where you've had to say, guys, let's hold on. I don't have enough information to vote this.
Yes. So what would happen, and this has happened before, and actually I would go to our floor leader and I would say, listen, seriously, no kidding. I don't think we're there yet and all. Can we lay it aside? And what you would do is you would literally, in the middle of the vote, you could just say, you yell out, lay it aside. Doesn't make you friends sometimes,
Right.
especially the sponsor of the bill. They usually look at you cross-eyed and kind of angry, but I actually did have to do that. I remember one time in particular, and again, I went over to the sponsor and I explained, this is nothing personal. I'm not trying to kill the bill. And I also spoke to, and I made sure we spoke to the floor leader of the other side of the aisle
Right.
to make sure, if I do this, will you bring it back up for a vote?
Right.
Because I didn't want to sabotage it. That
Right.
was not my intention.
Right.
And so it ended up working out and it was fine. But it's funny you said that, because yes, I really had to do that.
It's good to know that that's an option. A lot of times, people say, well, I had no choice. And as a business coach, as a success coach, I have no choice as a non-starter. You always have a choice.
Absolutely.
There's always two choices. And it's either yes or no. It's stop or go. It's do it or don't do it.
Right.
Now what we do is we overcomplicate it and layer it with all these other things. And the I can't or I don't have a choice is an I can't. I can't really means I won't.
Right. Exactly.
I won't. So let's be honest. Let's be impeccable with our words and just say I won't.
Right.
I won't do it.
Interesting you said this too, that you brought this example up of layering, because that is a trick used in not just Albany, but in government.
Sure.
But as the higher you go, the more they use it and more blatant it is. What I mean by this, and we used to call it the Christmas tree effect.
Oh, yes.
Is you introduce a bill and you say, we're going to introduce a bill that says all laptops will have an Apple icon on the back. And
I
you say,
agree with that
okay,
100%.
well, that's wonderful. That's great. Okay. Then somebody comes along and says, well, I think I'm going to add on a little amendment here. And I'm going to say that, and they also must all come with a thumb drive. Oh, okay. That's great. And then on top of that, they're all going to have to be silver. And then on top of that, we're only going to allow a certain number of people. Wait a minute. Now you're getting crazy. And it all of a sudden starts diluting the whole purpose of the bill to the point where, and they do this on purpose, because then you either have your built-in excuse to go one way or the other.
Right.
And in your explanation, you can say, listen, I really did weigh it, and there were 7 reasons to vote for it, and only 3 to vote no, so I voted for it. It was better than nothing, and blah, 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 blah. Excuse.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
They do it on purpose to use and have your built-in excuse, which is why I've always said, look, I think every bill should be a standalone bill.
Agreed.
I also think in the budget process, you do not include policy issue. You include financial, your budgetary
Just
issues.
budget.
That's it.
I agree.
Because they, again, will do the same thing.
So let's back up for the listeners who may not know this. So when you put a bill in, like you just said, you put a bill in to do the laptop thing, and the layering comes in where we put additional items in that may or may not have anything to do with the laptop. It's more like this is a laptop bill, and by the way, I want everyone in New York to have a Chihuahua.
Exactly.
What? Wait,
Exactly.
what does that have to do with the laptop? Usually they're not even associated, but it's the only way you can get that person's vote is if you put that in, because they can't get that alone. And there's probably a reason why everybody shouldn't have a Chihuahua. Not that I don't love Chihuahuas,
No, but
not that there's anything wrong with Chihuahuas, but I love the process when it's working properly.
Right.
But when people abuse it and use it like that, it's a disservice to the people that they serve.
Absolutely.
Our responsibility as leaders is to serve the people that we're leading and to try to make them as successful as possible.
Right.
And what I find is school districts, no offense, and government constantly putting their hands in our pockets if they're not ending. It's like, hold on for a second. I can't do that in my own business. I can't do that in my own household, but you get to do that?
Right,
How does that work, Dean?
right.
How does that work?
It's very, very frustrating. It's like the never-ending pot to reach into. The problem is this, and we're starting to see it. That pot is going to end because people are leaving. And they love to do this in Albany. We're gonna just tax the rich, or we're gonna go after this certain group, and then all of a sudden the rich is defined by like 200,000 or more, and you're like, wait, that's not rich. That's okay, but it's not rich. But then what you find is also many times those so-called rich people are also the employers. They're the business owners. They're the people.
How do they not get that?
They take their jobs with them.
Absolutely. How did they not get the trickle-down effect? I do not understand the thought process, and I don't care what side of the aisle anybody's on, but I do not understand the thought process of penalizing people who are doing exactly what the American dream is built on, is making money.
Right.
Why did making money become so so nasty, so ugly. Oh, don't make money. We can't make money. To me, I feel like they're just trying to eliminate the middle class. By doing this,
because it's exactly that. It's class warfare. What they're trying to do is get that class warfare going, because you know that not everyone succeeds. Right. It's a small percentage that really succeeds to the extreme, and then you have some others that are very successful, but not everyone does.
Success is defined by yourself.
Well, that's
so
true.
Everybody
That's
defines
true.
success
100%.
a different way. Money isn't necessarily success. Wealth is success.
Sure.
And wealth encompasses a whole lot more than just money.
Right.
So when they look at that hitting the wealthiest, who are taking those businesses out of this state or out of a state, and the trickle down effect is removal of jobs, removal of that product, removal of that tax income for them renting out the building or owning the building, whatever.
Oh, and it goes further.
Yeah.
I used Tom Golisano. He was the owner of Paychex, right? He used to be in Buffalo, and in Buffalo, he would be extremely philanthropic. He would give to the libraries and the hospitals and all of this.
Sure.
Well, when he left and went to Florida, luckily he did leave a portion of the operation still here, so not all the jobs left. But what did leave were those donations to the libraries and the hospitals and the schools and the universities and all of this. That went to Florida.
Yeah.
So we lost more than just that very wealthy tax-paying individual, but we lost a lot that went with it. I get back to the class warfare in that. Who do they usually target with the message? It's the have-nots, not the haves.
Right.
And they do it in a way that it's not fair that they have it. What I don't get is...
Hold on. The haves worked really hard to have it. The haves is why we're here in America, because you have the opportunity. And here's my question. I know you're going to finish your point, because I have another question for you.
Well, you brought up the key word there, opportunity.
Yes.
See, we all have the opportunity to be one of the haves.
It's one of the
how
choices.
hard you want to work. We've got more opportunity here than anywhere, but it's not a guarantee. We are the land of opportunity, not the land of guarantees.
Right.
So my point, though, is that... they want to play that class warfare and say, well, it's not fair that they have it. Well, that word fair gets misused quite a bit. Yeah. But they earned it. They worked hard. They earned that, and they succeeded. But what message are we sending to our? And this is the part that bothers me the most. What message are we sending to our next generation and the next generation when we say, if you succeed, you're bad? Why are we punishing success? Why are we not encouraging it?
Yeah.
And I go to when they do the things with the schools and the participation trophies and everyone gets their name on the wall. No.
Yeah.
You should be recognized for success and succeeding, and that'll make others want to strive to do the same. And what is wrong with that?
Agreed. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And if our country was so bad, why are people pouring in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
My Italian relatives I'm third generation here. Well, I'm actually second generation here, because my grandparents came over here from Italy, came here for the lands of opportunity to be able to do their own job. They came here speaking only Italian. They learned the language, they learned English so they could take the licensing test. And then they went into their respective industries. One was a painter and the other was an electrician. My grandfathers were that. Amazing, right? And they were very successful. They were able to support their families. For them, their success was there in allowing their children to do what they wanted to do, and so on and so forth. So we have all these people pouring into our country. Some people don't want borders and stuff like that. I don't want to get into that. But what's the question here that's so obvious? If we're so bad, why do they want to come?
Exactly.
Why are they coming in by the thousands if we're so bad? Right? So because people see the land of opportunity. I was talking to a couple of people who, actually this woman's from Russia. She was surprised I knew she was from Russia. She asked me, what country do you think I'm from? And I was like, sounds like Russia. And she's like, nobody ever gets that. And I was like, well, it sounds like Russia. And what a delightful woman, and really working hard, and has been here. Her mom came over here for the opportunities that you have here, and they cannot and I said, what do you think about what's going on? They can't wrap their head around the people who are getting upset with people who are making money. That's why they came here. That's why the pilgrims came here. That's why the redcoats came and tried to take us out. That's why our founding fathers wrote that Constitution that stands up to the ages, through the ages. Totally brilliant, because you know what? I betcha I wasn't there. As old as you think I am, I wasn't there. But I presume that a lot of what we're feeling now is what they were feeling then. And that's why they wrote it the way that they did, giving us enough latitude to make decisions and grow with how we grow as a country, but enough restriction to keep us on course.
Right.
And that's what I love about the Constitution. Right. And if you haven't read it, I really encourage you to go out, read it. It's on the internet. When you read it,
copies if you need them.
Oh, good. Dean Murray has pocket copies that he will share with you. Right. If you need it, you can just reach out to him. We're going to come back with Dean Murray in a few minutes. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. If you would just give us a few seconds, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back and continue our conversation. Thank you so much for staying with us. We look forward to seeing you or having you hear us in a few minutes. Be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. If you would like to be a guest or lift up your business, product, or non-for-profit, or if you have a question or comment, please, we would love to hear from you. Please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. And whether your goal is improving your health, increasing prosperity in business, developing a business and marketing strategy, nurturing your spiritual growth, you are in the right place. I will help you shift your mindset, harness your talents, remove resistance, rise above your limitations. You will be empowered to create your desired reality as I guide you through it. The results are based on an approach of shifting mindset and achieving your goals in business through personalized strategies. I'll show you how to take your vision to the next level. I meet you in that gap between where you are and where you want to be. That's where we work right in there. So just guiding our clients to transcend into true leaders. And we're talking about leadership today through my proven method of 3 pillars of success: physical and intellectual and spiritual levels. I can help you overcome those fears and thrive. I just overcame one of my fears, and I wrote a book.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you did.
And I wrote a book that just launched on July 20th.
Successfully, I hear.
Well, exciting news I want to share with everyone. And so happy to have you here while I'm letting everyone know. We became #1 international bestseller in 5 countries.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And what's the name of the book?
It's Women Who Dream on Amazon.
Wow, that is great.
Look for it.
Definitely. How can they get it? Just Amazon?
They can go to they can go to Amazon.com, or they can go to ldcstrategies.com, my website, and on there is a link for Women Who Dream. They can go and buy it right through there. That link, however, gets you an autographed copy, and I send it to you personally.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, so
congratulations.
Thank you for asking. Thank you so much.
And it launched Wednesday, right?
It launched on July 20th. Wednesday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So on Wednesday night, we found out we were international. Thursday morning, we found out we were #1.
Wow. That's
in
fantastic.
5 countries, Dean. 5
That's
countries.
fantastic.
It was way beyond our expectations. So see, dreams do come true.
I was going to say, land of opportunity.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the thing is I had to jump my fear of writing.
Sure.
So back in junior high school, I had an English teacher who will remain nameless, but she told me what a terrible writer I was. And that I carried that through my whole adult life. And then finally I met my publisher, Kate Butler, and she and I were talking about some things on we do other projects together. And she asked me, she says, why don't you write a book? Lorianne, you have a really great story. You need to write a book. And I told her that story, and she goes, let me ask you something. Is the fear greater than the opportunity to help somebody else?
Great question.
That answer was very easy. Yeah. So that made it easy, because it was always, my objective was always, and goal was always, to get the story out there, get the tools and the lessons that I learned through my transformation out there, so I could help other people. And that was a no-brainer. That was so easy.
You used that as fuel, didn't you?
Fuel.
To light the fire, to get it done.
Absolutely.
That teacher's comment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know you well enough.
You take the negative, defiance runs deep.
There you go.
But you take the negative and we made it into a positive.
Right.
It took me a number of years before that happened, but it finally happened. It finally, I took the step, but it was all on me. I allowed her to stop me. I allowed her to make it a fear, and we got to head our fears head on, right? Or face our fears head on. And that's what I had to do. So, and it's exciting once you do that.
Oh, sure.
You want to just
you want to send her the first copy.
I do. Signed with a thank you for that nasty comment. No, I'm only kidding. And she was right. But like one of I went to Torah Law School, and one of my legal writing professors would say, Lorianne, why do you get like crazy every time I have to give a project? And I'm like, and I told her the story, and she's like, you have some syntax errors. That's what editors are for. I have to tell you, Dean, the editors for this book, amazing. It was wonderful. Thank God. Still kept my voice, still, just fixed all those, technical things.
Right.
So you could do it. You could do it. So if anybody wants to write a book, come and talk to me, because I will hook you up with my publisher. She's amazing. But okay, back
Look
to
at the results.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
It's amazing. So I kind of feel like you did when you were on the steps of Albany.
Right.
So many years ago. And you were like,
this.
I can't believe I'm here. That's how I feel today. I can't believe we did this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's going to keep going. So, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
So very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So happy. But we were talking about leadership.
So speaking of happy and great feelings and all that, as we were talking before about this country and its greatness, and you pose the question that if for those who say it's so terrible, then why do so many people want to come?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, for any listener out there, if you are ever feeling down, you ever need a pick-me-up, and you want to feel good about yourself, about this country, I'll tell you what you do. You find out when and where they are holding the next citizenship ceremony. So what this is where you have citizens or immigrants from all over the world who are trying to become legal U.S. citizens, and it is quite a process.
Yes.
It is long. It is tedious. It is at times a bit expensive. It is hard. It is not easy.
But it's a commitment.
Oh my gosh. And
it's a commitment not only to yourself, but to the country you want to be part of.
Absolutely. The pride when you are in this room, and the pride that you see, and they are just beaming. It is such an amazing experience, and I've been privileged and thrilled to be able to go to several of these. I went to one recently about 2 months ago at the Middle Country Library in Selden. And there were about, 15, 16 new citizens that had just been sworn in, and they come. Now, oh my gosh, it was so fantastic, but interesting. One kind of pulled me aside and asked a legit question, and that question was, I love that I did it the right way, and I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so excited, but I couldn't help but wonder why. Why was I doing this? Because if I did it the wrong way, I got so many free things. I could have my kids getting free college. I could be getting free healthcare and free money and free giveaways and all this stuff. And it did make them wonder. Exactly. And the answer was, I'm so glad you did it the right way.
Yes.
But I said, but aren't you glad you did?
Yeah.
And inside, there was no question.
It's pride.
Absolutely.
It's pride.
Exactly. Plus the fact that
That's
you're not looking over your shoulders.
Yep.
You are, and you can say, I am a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, but that really hit me hard.
Valid question.
Exactly. Because,
valid question.
My gosh, we are encouraging people to do it the wrong way.
Yeah, what's the point?
And then wondering why we have more and more people doing it.
Yeah.
It is just so backwards.
But there's a process for a reason in everything.
Right. Correct.
And the people who aren't going through the process also aren't getting the benefit of being able to say they're a U.S. citizen, for being able to say they're contributing back to the community. They really want to be here, then do it the right way.
Right,
Why wouldn't
exactly.
you want to do it the right way? I have two girlfriends, one's from Hong Kong and one's from Canada, and they both went through the process. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, ask them their story about going through and getting their citizenship. And yes, some of it was arduous, but anything worthwhile is challenging.
Right. Right.
It's going to have hurdles, but we're going to keep pushing forward until we accomplish our goals, right? Anything we have to do, we have to push through. So can we make the system better? Absolutely. And I think that that's a goal of everybody, yourself included, hopefully going back up to Washington. Oh, look at that.
Oops.
Up to Albany. Flash forward to the future. To Albany, but to make it a little easier and less contentious. But we still have to have that process in there for the safety of the country so that they can contribute, because things are not free. What they say they're getting free, the U.S. citizens are paying for it.
Right.
The people who are working and have a job are paying for it. Those wealthy 1%ers or 2%ers are paying for it.
Absolutely.
Even though people will say, oh, they're not paying for it. They have all these
which is not true.
Deductible. It's so not true.
It's not true.
If you see their bills, and listen, I'm not one of them, so I'm,
exactly,
I would love to be one. I will be one day,
there
and I will pay my fair share willingly and lovingly, because I know if I can help other people, that's what I'm going to do. And you know what? Success is not fun alone. Success is only fun when you bring a whole bunch of people with you.
Sure.
So that's something that I feel like a train, and I want to bring as many cabooses along with me.
There you go.
So with that said, that's how we pay for all these things that are free and all this money that's being spent. And I sit there and go, how much more can the American people endure and still be able to pay their own bills?
Right.
We balance our budgets at home. I know you do. I know I do.
Sure.
We have to. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice.
We've gotten to a point where they try, again, I keep saying they, but I just say that those that view things differently will say. We talked about the class warfare before, but also it's a matter of emotion versus fact. And they love to play that game, because I'll give you an example. Someone had asked me about the budget, and I was doing a screening, and they were asking me about the budget, and I said, it's so incredibly bloated. We don't have a revenue problem in New York. We have a spending problem.
Without a doubt.
We have a $220+ billion budget in the state of New York. We are the fourth most populous state. The third most populous state is Florida. Second is Texas. First is California. Wow. Do you know that if you add the operating budgets of Texas, the number 2, Florida, the number 3, add them together, it does not equal the budget of number 4, which is us.
Oh, my goodness.
It is ridiculous what we spend. And yet, if you say, well, maybe we should not have had the excluded workers fund where we gave $2.1 billion out, just handed it out to those who are here illegally, and the reason we did that, it's going to sound crazy, but during the pandemic, of course, the government shut things down, which put a lot of people out of work. So unemployment spiked. Normally, gig workers, contract workers, 1099s, and small business owners would not qualify for unemployment.
Correct.
However, rightfully so, the government said, look, we're the ones that shut you down, so we do have to help you.
Right.
So they came up with the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. But when they came up with that, and might I add, everyone that was getting paid unemployment through the PUA put into the PUA.
Yes, without a doubt.
They paid in.
Correct.
They said, well, if we gave it to them, why aren't we giving it to everyone? And we said, well, what do you mean by everyone? Well, why aren't we giving it to illegal immigrants who are here?
Because hold on, what was that first word?
Exactly. Well, because A, they haven't paid a penny into it. B, they're not supposed to be here in the first place. And C, many of them are still working off the books right now and don't need it. But they said, nope, we're going to do it. Passed it. Handed out $15,000 checks, no questions asked.
So, oh my gosh. So,
are you kidding?
So, Dean, it's not that you don't want to support people and give them a helping
hand. Of course
not. Right? It's not that.
Of course
you just
not.
want people to be through the system. You want people to do it the right way.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also...
So we don't hand out graduation certificates from high school if you haven't gone through the program.
Of course not.
So why would it be even more significant? Why would we just hand out people money who haven't gone through citizenship or don't have intention of going back?
Well, their answer was because they need help. They are fellow human beings and we need to help them. My point is we do not have an endless amount of money. We have a finite amount of money. Do you know who also needs help?
The American people.
Well, how about homeless veterans here? Do you know that Suffolk County is the second highest veteran population in the United States?
And suicide
second
as a
to
result.
San Diego County. Exactly.
Yeah.
22 every day.
Every day.
Commit suicide.
Yeah.
The point is, they served our country. They're legal U.S. citizens.
They should get everything free.
Thank you. If you're handing out money to anybody, how about them?
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody wants handouts. We need to help them.
Yeah.
But again, you have a certain amount. It's called being an adult.
So what's the answer?
Budgeting.
What's the answer? What do you do? How do you help people who aren't legal here, who need help? I mean, we can't have people starving and walking around right? That's just inhumane. So how do we help people like that?
But again, how much help did they really, nobody came and said, do you need the help? Some of them were still working off the books.
I get
and
that.
earning money.
I get that. But so it sounds to me like we need a mechanism for illegal people to be able to go into the system, be able to contribute into the system while they're waiting to get legal. I believe that's called a green card. And then that allows us to then give them the money. So without a green card, perhaps, then maybe we shouldn't have been able to identify them and to be able to give them a check. So how, if we knew they're illegal and we identified that and we were able to give them a check, how are we not able to counsel them through the proper system?
Because you were not even allowed to ask them. They make it so you're not allowed to ask.
Why? Who said
you're
so?
You're just not allowed to ask.
My mom said don't ask?
Yeah, that's basically it. More like the Democrats in Albany said don't ask. You are not allowed to ask questions like that. You are not allowed to ask legal status.
But
New York City just passed legislation that they are spending $100 million for free health care, again, caveat, regardless of immigration status. Now, most people who are here legally do not need the free health care. They have it. Most. Not all, but most. If you were to go and talk to some of the CEOs and the directors of the hospitals, you will find that the indigent care costs have skyrocketed. So when you said earlier in the program, you talked about free really isn't free. That is why you pay $45 for a Tylenol in the emergency room.
Gotcha.
Because the indigent care is through the roof because they cannot be turned away. So if they're sick, they're here illegal. That is why you will find packed emergency rooms all the time. But they'll have
because that's how they use their doctors.
Exactly.
They use the emergency room as doctors instead of saving the emergency room for actual emergencies.
And again, I want them to get. I don't want anybody running around sick. Of course, get care. But how about this? How about we actually get serious at the border and put in the policies that should be there and put the controls that should be there in place, which we were making progress before till a certain president reversed everything. But we were making that progress, enforcing the laws on the border, enforcing our immigration laws, and living up to. We need to start there, get back to actually enforcing the laws and get things back under control. And then it's a process. We've let it all go. And by we, I just mean the leadership in Washington has just let it go.
So in our last 5 minutes, something positive. Tell me something positive. Tell me, give us some hope here, Dean. There's hope. I know there's hope.
I will tell you this. The people are getting it. I have been out knocking on doors. I was out last night knocking on doors and talking to the voters and the people. They're getting it. They have had enough. They've reached that point. But they also don't want to give up, because if you're a New Yorker, you're a New Yorker. You love New York. You don't want to go, especially Long Island. You don't want to go. I mean,
it's a lot of great things.
Oh
here,
my gosh,
right?
It's such a wonderful place.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, think about all we have.
And the people are absolutely wonderful.
They really are.
Yeah.
They are. It's a fantastic place.
We're rough. We're direct, but we all understand each other.
But we will walk through fire for each other.
That's true.
And absolutely stick up for each other.
And so will you. You walk through fires for your constituents. You walk through fire for anybody in New York and any state, quite frankly, because I've seen you help people all over the world, because that's just your heart.
Well, that's what we should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we need to do.
Because you're a good human, Dean.
We need to do
But
this.
you're also a good human, and there are a lot of good humans
out
there. Oh, thank you. There are a lot of good humans out there, and we need to remember that when we're having those dark days and feeling really down about what we're seeing on the news. First, shut off the news.
Sure.
Second of all, you just turn around and look around you. We're surrounded by great humans.
And remember this, we're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to have differing opinions, but go back to the one mouth, two ears. Listen to the other side.
Yes.
Have the discussion. It doesn't mean we're necessarily going to agree at the end, but you know what? You can get another perspective, and maybe, just maybe, you're a little more understanding about the situation.
Did you have a good birthday yesterday?
Great.
Happy
great.
birthday
Thank
to you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. What are you, 22, 23?
Exactly. Sure. Let's go with that.
Okay, I'm going with that. I like that number.
Why not?
Oh, my goodness. What's your why, Dean? Why do you do what you do? You're so passionate and so...
I think that's it, because just the passion of it is, it's funny because, once you get talking about these things, it just picks up steam and you're like, wow, I want to go do this. I want to go do that.
Yes.
After this conversation, I want to go do something. Let me go knock on doors. Let me go talk to people. It gets me excited and fired up knowing I can make a difference. Somebody had asked me one time, like, what do you like passing all these bills? Do you like meeting all these people? Do you know what one of my favorite things was? I had an elderly person call our office, and it was the middle of the winter, and they said, it was like, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm out of heating oil. I don't have any heating oil. And it was freezing cold that night. And we were able to help. They got a delivery that night to get them through, and then we set it up where they got some more, but we were able to help. Yeah. And I went home that night going, man, that was great. Yeah. That was so great.
Yeah.
It's little things like that.
It's the heart. And that's why people do this. That's why people get into politics, not the other stuff.
I think most people do. Yes.
I do. I think they start from there. Some people turn, I say go to the dark side, but most political people are really, their intention is good. Absolutely. It's just 100%. Hopefully they surround themselves with smart people who make sure they keep their feet to the ground and remind them while they're there. Right. And that's what we're doing today, is reminding people that they need to be good leaders, and to be good leaders, you have to listen with 2 ears and use 1 mouth. So Dean Murray, you are a treasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, no, thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you up in Albany very, very soon.
Sounds good.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I know you have a lot of choices, and that you chose to stay and hear us today really, really lifts my heart up, and I'm so grateful. I want to thank our guest today, Dean Murray. He is super, super. Look for him. He is all over Long Island, and will probably soon be up in Albany. That is my prediction. And if you're looking for a business coach, accountability, strategy, direction, a sounding board, someone to help streamline your business and more, or if you're not sure, feel free to reach out to me at 516-983-3591, and let's see if it's a good fit, because I certainly can help you soar to success. And as we were discussing earlier, my Women to Dream is on Amazon now. It is a #1 international bestseller. I'm so excited. And that is a shameless plug, Dean. Thank you all.
Well deserved.
Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. Look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big, huge, gigantic. Thanks, Dean.
Thanks.